Lesson 20, the perfect indicative active, irregular adjectives of the first and second declension. Welcome back to Lenny's Latin class. Today we're on page 58, and the main thing we're going to look at today is a new verb tense called the perfect tense. Okay, so here in section 173, the authors of the book start to talk about the perfect stem. So what is the perfect stem? And what is the perfect tense anyway? Well, let's talk about it. First of all, the terms perfect and imperfect, when it comes to verb tenses, have special meaning, okay? They come from this Latin verb, which is perficio. Okay, perficio is a compound verb. It comes from the Latin verb facio, F-A-C-I-O, which means to do or make. It's an extremely common verb. Per gives the idea of something being done thoroughly. Okay, so it's a prefix that strengthens the action of the verb. Okay, so facio is to do or make. Per facio means to do something thoroughly. Okay, and when you add the preposition per to it, you get a vowel change. The A in facio changes to an I. So it's not really per facio, it's perficio. So the four principal parts of perficio are as follows: perficio, perficere, perfici, perfectus. And that fourth principal part, perfectus, that's where we get the English word perfect. Okay? In today's modern English, we use the term perfect to mean something that is without blemish, right? Like if you see something that is completely right and appropriate for the situation with no mistakes, no flaws, it's just fully fabulous. You might look at that and say, wow, that's perfect. Or if just something's really good, you'll say, ooh, that's perfect. Okay, so that's how we use the term perfect in modern English. But really the literal meaning of it is something that's finished, accomplished, or done, okay? So perficio means to do, accomplish, to do thoroughly. And so that fourth principal part, it's a passive participle. Perfectus, it means having been done, having been accomplished, okay? So why am I bringing this up? Because our verb tenses are named with that word. We have imperfect and perfect. So since the word perfect means accomplished, done, or finished, that's what the perfect tense is all about, okay? So far we've studied the imperfect tense, and we've studied that that particular tense talks about activity that is ongoing in the past. That is an ongoing action in past time, or continuous action in past time. The im on the front, im, means not. So imperfect means not finished, not complete, not done. Okay, it's ongoing. Today we're talking about the perfect tense. It's a verb tense in Latin that talks about activity that is completed, done, and finished. That's why it's called perfect, from the verb perficio, okay? So the imperfect tense tells us about continuous action in the past. The perfect tense tells us about completed action in past time, okay? That's the difference between imperfect and perfect. So now that we know what the perfect tense is, how do we make it? How do we form it? So that's the next item of concern for us. And the answer to that is that we need to use the third principal part, okay? I've always told you from the very beginning, whenever you learn a new Latin verb, always memorize all four principal parts. So for the verb laudo, it would be laudo, laudare, laudavi, laudatum. And I told you, even if you don't understand what all the principal parts are for, even if you don't know what they're used for, still memorize them because you'll need them later, right? And well, the time has come now where you need that third principal part, okay? A quick review. The first principal part, laudo, That's the present tense, first person singular. It means I praise. The second principal part is the infinitive, laudare. It means to praise. The third principal part, laudavi, that's the one we're concerned with today. That is the form from which we form all the perfect tense forms. Okay, laudavi is the perfect tense, first person singular form of that verb. So laudavi means I praised. It's completed action in past time. If you say laudabam, that means I was praising. That's imperfect. It's continuous action in past time. Laudavi, on the other hand, is perfect tense. It's talking about activity that's completed, accomplished, finished, and done. Okay? So that third principal part, laudavi, is the perfect tense. Okay? And here in section 173, the authors of the book say that you can find the perfect stem by taking the third principal part and removing the letter I. So for the verb laudo, you have the four principal parts, laudo, laudare, laudavi, laudatum. Take the third principal part, laudavi, and remove the letter I. You get L-A-U-D-A-V. Okay, that's the perfect stem. Now we can add endings to the perfect stem, and we can get the different first person, second person, and third person forms. Let's turn the page now to page 59, and let's start to examine these special perfect tense endings. Okay, for first person singular, we have the letter I. So for the verb laudo, that would be laudavi, I praised. For second person singular, you get I-S-T-I. So laudavisti would be you praised. It is he, she, or it. So if you say laudavit, that means he, she, or it praised. In the plural, imus, laudavimus. Second person plural, laudavistis. Third person plural, laudaverunt. Okay, so looking down here at section 174, you'll notice that several of these endings don't look that unfamiliar at all. The first person plural ending has mus, just like we're used to. Tis in the second person plural. T in the third person singular. So these endings aren't too crazy. They're not too far away from what you're accustomed to. You do need to get accustomed to the fact that in the second person singular you have the isti ending. And in the third person plural, erunt, that's another thing to get used to. But as I've said many times, if you practice speaking the language, if you practice actually saying things in Latin, you'll get accustomed to these different forms much more quickly than if you just simply memorize them from a piece of paper, okay? So don't view Latin as the kind of thing that's sitting in a museum display case. You can look at it through the glass, but you can never touch it. Don't look at it that way. Look at Latin as something you can pick up and touch and work with and play with. Start to say these verb forms in sentences and say them in context of sentences. And as you do, you'll get accustomed to the different forms of the verb. Again, let me reiterate that knowing all four principal parts is very important, because for some verbs, the four principal parts won't be very regular. For some verbs, that third principal part will be rather different from the others. What you'll find is that in the first conjugation, the four principal parts follow a distinct pattern. Laudo, laudare, laudavi, laudatum. That kind of pattern is very common for first conjugation verbs. And in the second conjugation too. But what about the third conjugation? What about our third conjugation sample verb, rego? It goes like this: rego, regere, rexi, rectum. Okay, where did rexi come from? If we tried to do it on a first conjugation model, it might say this: rego, regere, regewi, or something like that. You might expect the letter V to be there. But that's my point, is third conjugation verbs don't follow that same predictable pattern as in the first conjugation. So for rego, you're not going to have rego, regare, regavi, regatum. No, you're going to get rego, regere, rexi, rectum. So if you want to say I ruled, that is perfect tense, you say rexi, I ruled. So in the third conjugation, rexi, I ruled, rexisti, you ruled, rexit, he, she, or it ruled, reximus, we ruled, rexistis, y'all ruled, and rexerunt, they ruled. Okay, so it's super, super important to know all four principal parts of a verb so that you can form the perfect tense from it, okay? It's just rote memorization. Memorize the four principal parts, and then you're setting yourself up to use all the different tenses of that particular verb. By the way, we still haven't gotten to the fourth principal part. You still don't know what it's used for. It doesn't matter. Go ahead and memorize it now, even though you don't know what it's for. So memorize these forms of the perfect tense, work with them, say them in sentences, and in the meantime, let's go on to section 175, and let's look at the perfect tense of sum, that is the verb of being. You already know the verb of being in the imperfect tense, eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratus, erant. Here we're learning the perfect tense forms of the verb of being. And they sound like this: fui, fuisti, fuit, fuimus, fuistis, fuerunt. So if you want to say in Latin, I was, in the sense of I was over a period of time, you can say eram. But if you want to talk about something that's finished and complete, you could say fui. Okay, let's turn the page now to page 60, and let's look at section 176. Here we're going to see the perfect tense in action, and we're going to see how it can actually work in a sentence. There's a paragraph here under the model sentences. Let's read it together. It says, the Latin perfect may be translated in two ways. One, it may be equivalent to the English present perfect with have, and may be called the present perfect. Okay, so in model sentence 1, you'll see the English translation there. We have not seen the Rhine. That's one way to do it. There's another way to do it. Number 2, it is more frequently equivalent to the English past tense and may be called the historical perfect, like miserunt in sentence 2. In sentence 2, we have the verb mitto, which means send, in the perfect tense, and they translate it simply as sent. And that's the way I'll typically do it, just with a simple English past tense. Just for the sake of simplicity, when it's imperfect, I'll say was blah, 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 doing something. But for the perfect tense, I'll just use a simple past tense like sent, went, etc. So let's take a look at these model sentences. Model sentence number 1 says, renum non vidimus. Okay, the verb here is vidimus. That's a form of the verb video, which means to see. Let's think about the four principal parts: video, videre, vidi, visum. Okay, so the third principal part is vidi, V-I-D-I. So vidimus is perfect tense, first person plural, we saw. Okay? So vidimus is we saw, or as they translate it here, we have seen. And then non is negating it. So non vidimus is we did not see, or we have not seen. And renum means Rhine. Okay, so there you have the perfect tense of the verb video. Number 2, haidui, quod helvetii agros vastabant, legatos ad Caesarem miserunt. Okay, the main subject and verb here are haidui and miserunt. The haidui are a Gallic tribe, and the verb here, miserunt, is a form of the verb mitto, which means send. Let's think about the four principal parts. Mitto, mittere, misi, misum. Okay, to find the perfect tense, we need the third principal part, which is misi. Notice the erunt ending here. So miserunt is third person plural perfect tense. Miserunt is they sent. Okay, so haidui and miserunt together say the haidui sent. What did they send? Legatos. And they sent them ad Caesarem, to Caesar. So the haidui sent envoys or ambassadors to Caesar. And now we have a subordinate clause, quod helvetii agros vastabant. Quod means because, and vastabant is actually imperfect tense. So in this sentence, you have not only perfect, but also imperfect tense. And the subject within this subordinate clause is helvetii. Vastabant means they were laying waste, or they were destroying, or they were devastating. Vastabant is imperfect tense, third person plural. Agros means fields. That's accusative plural. So the sentence as a whole reads like this. The haidui, because the helvetii were devastating their fields, sent ambassadors to Caesar. So in this sentence, notice the role that each verb tense plays. The perfect tense has a feeling of something that happened once and then was finished. The haidui sent ambassadors to Caesar. It's sort of a one-time thing, a thing that was done and then finished. But then when it says, because the helvetii were devastating their fields, that has more of a sense of continuous action in past time. It's not something that the helvetii just did one time. They didn't just devastate the fields once. They did it over a period of time, or perhaps repeatedly. Okay, so try to get the feeling of each verb tense. The perfect tense is like they did it once and it was done. It happened in the past. And then the imperfect tense is more of something that was happening over time in the past, a continuous action. And again, as it says below, the perfect tense in Latin is more frequently equivalent to just a simple English past tense. And that's how I'll translate it in this series of lectures, unless there's a good reason not to. Okay, let's move on now to section 177, and let's talk about some irregular adjectives that we find in the Latin language. Let's read section 177 together. Irregular adjectives. 9 adjectives have the ending ius in the genitive singular and I in the dative singular of all genders. They are, and then we have a list of these 9 special adjectives. This particular group of irregular adjectives is sometimes referred to by Latin teachers as the naughty 9. Okay, they're naughty because they don't behave themselves like other, more well-behaved adjectives. They have to be different. So, again, in the genitive singular, you're going to get ius. And in the dative singular, you get the letter I. So let's go through them together. Alias, alia, aliud. That's an adjective that means other. And we have related English words like alias. Next we have alter, altera, alterum, which means the other. In English we have a saying, alter ego, like my other personality. Next we have neuter, neutra, neutrum, which means neither or neither, depending on how you pronounce it. In English we have words like neutron. A neutron is neither positive nor negative. You have protons, neutrons, and electrons. The proton is positive. The electron is negative, I believe. I'm not a scientist. And the neutron is neither or neither. Also, we have words like neutral. Next, we have nullus, nulla, nullum, which means not any or no. Next, we have uter, utra, utrum, which means which out of two. Solus, sola, solum means alone or only. We have words like solo in English. Totus, tota, totum means whole, like words like total. Ulus, ulla, ullum means any. Unus, una, unum means one. To me, all these adjectives have something in common. They have in common the idea of pointing out numbers with almost a demonstrative kind of quality. You know, words like this one, that one, the only one, the whole thing, neither, words like that. That's the kind of flavor of these irregular adjectives. That is the naughty nine. So let's look at the declension chart here at the top of page 61. So turn the page. The first thing to notice here is that there are no plural forms. If you say neither, then that idea of neither can't really be plural. There's no such thing as a plural neither. Or if you say which out of two, that automatically has a singular kind of feeling to it. So notice that there are no plural forms here. They're just singular only. And they decline a sample for us. That's the adjective alias, alia, aliud. Notice that in the genitive, you don't get something like alii, you get alius. And then in the dative, you don't get alio or alii, you get alii. In the nominative neuter, you get aliud. Besides that, the endings are what you might expect. So again, this group of adjectives is called the naughty nine. It has a weird genitive and a weird dative. So take note of that. In the meantime, let's move on to section 179 and go over our vocabulary. Familia, familiae, a feminine noun of the first declension that means household or retainers. Retainers can mean people on your payroll, household employees. Of course, we get our English word family from this. Judicium, judicii, is a neuter noun of the second declension, which means judgment or trial. A related English word would be judicial. To the top of the right-hand column, we have diwico, diwiconis. That's a person's name. He's a leader of the tribe known as the Helvetii. Next, we have an adverb, ita, which can mean so or thus. Sometimes you can even use it to mean yes. Next, we have a very common Latin verb, ago, agere, agi, actum, which can mean lots of different things. It can mean to do, or to act, or to drive. You really have to look at the context when you're trying to figure out what this word means. It can mean all kinds of things. Next, we have kogo, which is a compound verb. It's the verb ago, which we just examined, with the prefix kon. The N in kon goes away, and you just get co. This is a good example of how the prefix kon can mean a couple of different things. It can mean together. So kogo can mean to bring together, or kon can mean forcefully. It can mean to do something completely or forcefully. So kogo, in that sense, can also mean to compel or to force someone to do something. So if you think of kon as together and ago as drive, then kogo has the idea of drive together, like to collect or bring together. If you think of kon as forcefully and ago as drive, then you have drive forcefully, which has the idea of compelling someone or forcing someone to do something. So the four principal parts here are due to a vowel contraction: kogo, kogere, coagi, coactum. Next we have committo, another compound verb, kon plus mitto. It means to join, commit, or permit. Of course, we have the English word commit. Next we have an important Latin verb, vinco, which means to conquer. So vinco, vincere, vici, victum. And the word victory is related to this particular verb. Okay, let's move on now to our translation section. That's section 180. So turn off the recording. Please do all the exercises except number 11. Skip over number 11. And when you're finished, turn the recording back on and we'll go over them together. Okay, hopefully by now you've finished your homework. Let's go over these together, starting with number 1. Number 1 says, Wainy, weedy, weeky. This is a famous quote by none other than Julius Caesar. And not only that, it's a good chance to practice the perfect tense. Each of these forms is a perfect tense, first person singular. Okay, wainy is a form of the verb winio, which means come. The 4 principal parts, winio, winire, wainy, wintum. So wainy means I came. It's first person singular. Weedy is a form of the verb wideo. The 4 principal parts are wideo, widere, weedy, weesum. So weedy means I saw, and weeky is a form of the verb winco. That's one of our new verbs for this lesson. And you can see those 4 principal parts right above. Winco, wincere, weeky, wictum. So weeky means I conquered. So we get the famous quote, I came, I saw, I conquered. Number 2, habuisti, habuistis. Okay, these are 2 perfect tense forms of the verb habeo. The 4 principal parts of habeo are habeo, habere, habui, habitum. Okay, so habuisti is second person singular, so that means you had, and habuistis is second person plural. That means y'all had. Number 3 is next, munivimus, munivistis. Okay, 2 more perfect tense forms to practice with. These are from the verb munio. The 4 principal parts are munio, munire, munivi, munitum. So munivimus is perfect tense, first person plural, and it means we fortified. Munivistis is second person plural. That means y'all fortified. Number 4 is next, pugnawit, pugnawerunt. Again, perfect tense forms to practice with. This time from the verb pugno, which means fight. We have pugno, pugnare, pugnawi, pugnatum. It's a first conjugation verb, so it has that easy to remember series of principal parts. So pugnawit is third person singular, perfect tense. So that means he, she, or it fought. Pugnawerunt is third person plural, perfect tense. So it means they fought. In number 5, we get a naughty 9 adjective here, unius navis. Okay, unius is a form of the adjective unus, una unum, which means one. Here we see the ius ending, which is that special irregular genitive singular ending. So unius and navis both are genitive singular. So 5 will say of one ship. Number 6, alterum signum. The word signum can mean like a sign or a signal. It can also be the battle standard that the troops would carry into battle. And alterum means the other. So alterum signum will mean the other sign or the other signal or the other standard. Number 7, provincii toti. Okay, toti is one of those naughty 9 adjectives that we're studying in this lesson. This is that irregular dative singular ending of the adjective totus, tota, totum, which means whole, and provincii is also dative singular. So we could translate number 7 as to the whole province or for the whole province. Number 8, conjuratio totius Gallii. Okay, the word conjuratio means conspiracy. Literally, it means to swear together. Con means together, and jura, that root there, means to swear. So a conspiracy, and then we have 2 genitive singulars. Totius Gallii means of the whole of Gaul, of all of Gaul. Notice the irregular genitive singular ending there for the naughty 9 adjective totius. So number 8 says, a conspiracy of the whole of Gaul, or a conspiracy of all Gaul. Number 9 is next. Caesar ante oppidum castra posuit. Okay, here we have a perfect tense verb. Posuit is a form of the verb pono. Okay, pono means to put or place. So the four principal parts are pono, ponere, posui, positum. Okay, so posuit is perfect tense, third person singular. So it means he, she, or it put, or he, she, or it placed. The direct object here is castra, and so when you have pono and castra together, generally you translate it as to pitch camp. So we have someone pitched camp here, and the subject is Caesar. So Caesar pitched camp. And finally, ante oppidum. Okay, ante means before or in front of, and oppidum means town. So number 9 says, Caesar pitched camp in front of the town. Number 10 is next. Helvetii aliud consilium habuerunt nullum. Okay, the subject is Helvetii, and the verb is habuerunt. That's a perfect tense verb from the verb habeo, which means to have. So habeo, habere, habui, habitum. Okay, habui is that third principal part that tells us about the perfect tense. So habuerunt is third person plural, perfect tense. It means they had. Okay, so the subject and verb, the Helvetii, had. And consilium, which means plan, is the direct object. That's accusative singular. So the Helvetii had a plan. Aliud is the neuter accusative form of a naughty 9 adjective that means other. And nullus means no or none or not at all, something like that. So the basic meaning of number 10 is the Helvetii had no other plan. Okay? Aliud is other, nullum is no, and consilium is plan. So the Helvetii had no other plan. Let's skip over number 11 and go to number 12. Orgeterix fuit princeps Helvetiorum et civitati persuasit. Okay, this one has two verbs. The first is fuit, and the second one is persuasit. Orgeterix is the subject of both of those verbs. So orgeterix is the subject, and fuit is a perfect tense form of the verb of being. It's third person singular. So fuit means he, she, or it was. So orgeterix fuit means orgeterix was. And persuasit is a perfect tense form of the verb persuadeo, which means to persuade. The four principal parts, persuadeo, persuadere, persuasi, persuasum. So persuasit is perfect tense, third person singular. So orgeterix and persuasit together we'll say orgeterix persuaded. Okay? So princeps means chief. Helvetiorum is genitive plural. That means of the Helvetii, possessing princeps. So orgeterix was chief of the Helvetii. Et means and persuasit, don't forget, it takes the dative case. So civitati is the word civitas, but in the dative case. It can mean things like state or tribe. So number 12 says this, Orgeterix was the chief of the Helvetii, and he persuaded the tribe. Number 13 is next. Orgeterix ad judicium suum familiam coagit. Okay, orgeterix is the subject, and coagit is the verb. That's a perfect tense form of one of our new verbs for this lesson, kogo. Kogo can mean to compel or to bring together. I think in this particular case it means to bring together. And this is third person singular, perfect tense. So orgeterix and coagit together will say, orgeterix brought together. The direct object is familiam. In this case it means not only his family, but all of his retinue, all of his entourage, probably his slaves, his household employees, people who depended on him. Since he was the chief or the king of that tribe, he probably had a royal court of some kind, advisors, such and such, and probably lots of vassals who depended on him financially. So all these hangers-on, all these people that surround him, that's the familium. And suam means his, her, or its. So it might be a good idea to translate familium as household or something like that. So suam familium will say his household. Ad judicium means to the trial. Okay, judicium is accusative singular. It's one of our new vocabulary words for this lesson. So number 13 says, Orgetorix brought together his household to the trial. Number 14, Caesar proelium commisit. Okay, the subject here is Caesar, that's Julius Caesar. Commisit is the verb. That's one of our new verbs for this lesson, committo. It's perfect tense, third person singular. So commisit means something like he joined, he committed, or permitted. And proelium means battle. Okay, the O and the E in proelium, they're not pronounced separately like proelium. That's a diphthong. They get pronounced together. So proelium is how you pronounce that word. So number 14 will say something like this. Caesar joined battle, or Caesar committed battle. Number 15 is next. Multi homines e castris helvetiorum ad renum finesque Germanorum contenderunt. Okay, the subject here is homines, and contenderunt is the verb. Homines is a form of the third declension noun homo, which can mean man, or it can mean just a human being. So homines means men or human beings. Multi means many. So multi homines says many men or many human beings. And contenderunt is a form of the verb contendo, which means to strive, fight, or hasten. This is perfect tense, third person plural, and it probably means hasten here in this context. So multi homines contenderunt says many men or many human beings hurried or hastened. Now we have some prepositional phrases. E castris means out of the camp. Helvetiorum is possessing castris, so it's out of the camp of the Helvetii. Ad renum means to the Rhine River. And now we have the word fines, but it has a special suffix on it, QUE. That QUE suffix there provides the word and. It's like putting the word and between renum and fines. Fines means borders or boundaries. In the plural, it can mean territory. So renum finesque says the Rhine River and the territory. Germanorum is genitive plural, and that's possessing finesque. That means of the Germans. So number 15 says, many men hastened out of the camp of the Helvetii to the Rhine River and to the territory of the Germans. Okay, that does it for this installment of Lenny's Latin class. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next lesson.